today we're live, but I do have some important news. Apparently, it doesn't like to try and capture. We want... Why can I not find my thingy? Because it's not there. Oh, there it is. So I found out what I did wrong. You're not supposed to have equal signs between car info and the array number. That was completely my fault. And then what I did was I did a nested for loop, which does the car manufacturer followed by a new line, then the car, like the car name. So Ford Mustang. Basically, it does this: Ford Mustang, Chevy Camaro, Toyota Camry. So I will upload these to GitHub. Because this is me going through and basically relearning an entire language. But we're not done with loops yet. We still get to do while, for. I wonder if for each is a thing in C++. I don't remember. But let's continue on with what we were doing. I know Merg was here. My partner she commented, my girlfriend commented, because I shared my GitHub link, and I believe it is public, so you can view it at any time. So we literally went through, and this is my refresher course, basically. I don't have the book that I had. I believe, let me see if I can find it. C++ book. I don't remember the name of it. I just remember what it looked like. It wasn't any of those. Wasn't this either. So I'm gonna try and find the specific book that I had. It wasn't these. Wasn't even Maroc. It's sad, I can see the book cover, but I can't remember the book's name. Because I really didn't use it. It wasn't that, wasn't this. We're gonna probably be certain. It wasn't Maroc, which I think is what everyone is doing at the college I went to. I remember it because I had it on Chegg. Oh, I found it. Absolute C++ is what it was called. That's what it is. It was Absolute C++. And that class, I'm talking about it because it's something that interests me a lot, and I gotta make sure that. Yeah, no, I can't find my Twitch page, so we're just gonna do this. Stream manager. but it was absolute C++. Because when I was in school, how I learned C++ originally was actually having a Linux Mint virtual machine. Um, and we literally would write our code in Vim or Nano or a text editor, and then we'd compile it, and then we had a really long zip command that we needed to remember, which I ended up using the right click compression method. So, yes, this is my journey back into C++ in an application sense. This is my first time touching C++ in an application sense since 2019, 2020. So it's been about 2 or 3 years since I've touched it in an application sense. So as you can see, I'm not going to show my terminal because I just literally, you could download the files, run the g++ command on the file itself, and then hold on, I gotta there. And then you can run the a.out with the ./a.out, which I always rename my executables. Or I'm gonna start doing that so that the a.out doesn't overwrite. Or what you could do is do like separate folders for each class. But since it's literally a C++ file and not a full-fledged program, that would be kind of redundant to do. If it was a program, then I would say, yeah, go ahead, make an actual program folder, have all your header files and all your class files in separate folders for organization, or however you want to organize it. So now we're going to move on to while loops. There are two types of while loops that I know of in C++. They are do and while, or do while and just while loops. And the while loops actually are what I most commonly use, but do while loops are pretty efficient. I'm actually going to make sure I didn't miss one. For each, I'm going to make sure that they are a thing in C++. I am dumb. Oh yeah, oh, that's how. So you would use this with an array, which would be a for each, like a decent. Yeah, no. I don't remember exactly what we covered. It's been a while. I do know we covered the arrays from the aforementioned final, which, if I remember correctly, I remember that day because I had to go to a friend's graduation party the next day, and I got up at like 7 o'clock. I remember just going, I feel like a zombie. And it was terrible. So I'm gonna actually create a new file here, and we're gonna save as, and I'm gonna actually put it in a separate folder. Loop. What did I do? Oh, I see. while loop dot cpp, and we will save it in projects. Actually, we'll just do it this way. Since it's an individual file, I'm not going to create a full-fledged program yet. I'm not confident in my abilities to do a full C++, like an actual program that includes functions and headers. And honestly, I might just do a function. So we'll do the same thing we always do. So include IOStream int main return 0. I suppose what we could do, I'm going to take, and I'm also going to show you functions. Now there's a few ways that you can do functions. I'm probably going to use the headers completely wrong. But you can, I'm actually going to make sure I know what I'm doing when it comes to headers, because I always do headers like this. We save this as functions.h. Which your function would be something like this. Int add num1, or it would be int num1 int num2. And what I do, I actually have I know I'm doing this wrong, but this is just how I know I've done it in the past, and it's terrible. You would then, say num1 int sum equals num1 plus num2. Return sum. And how you would include that header would be, you would go like this. Include functions.h. I know that you don't use headers that way. It's just how I've done it in the past, and it would literally be the same as going like this. Int difference num int num1 int num2. So the reason, okay, so I'm going to explain this. The numbers used here, so if I were to create a variable called num1 and num2, they are not the same as in here. This is a different scope. So when they talk about scope, this is what they mean. So variables referenced here are not accessible here, and vice versa. Because this is outside, they would be outside the scope. So if I did, and yes, I'm keeping everything the same, it would basically be the same as doing this. But, yeah. So I have an idea here. Let me go Control C. I'm just going to put all my functions in here. And then we go bing boom. This is literally one of the first types of applications I make. I make a simple 2-number calculator. When I actually, I tell a lie about the whole 2 years since I've touched C++, because if we go C++, if we go to my GitHub, I have access to every single repository that I've ever created. So if we want to go back, Linux Native Game Jam was a game. Guess the Number was a game that I made. Mileage Calculator, that was done April of last year, so I do tell a lie in the application sense. But I haven't made like a complex application that deals with arrays, pointers, all that. So it's definitely fun for me to... Oh, somebody messaged me on Discord. I'm in the middle of a live stream, good sir. Speaking of, where's my Twitch? Just to make sure, like, Merc hasn't went, do you want to make a deal? But no, you don't, please don't follow my example for doing functions. So I would do int difference equals num1 minus num2. And people would be like, well, it's got to be in... It all depends on what you want to do. Oh boy, I'm getting messages on Discord all the time because somebody went live and they pinged everyone. Actually, at the Notify stream, which is actually pretty cool. But yeah, I have touched C++ in a kind of refresher sense where I make the basic applications and I have gone no further. But I did have a game that got to be pretty complex and I needed to compile it as a separate program. And I don't have the source code anymore, as far as I know. But this is how I do my functions. It's not the best way to do it. You would use your... In fact, I don't... Headers in C++. I'm actually quite curious. They show a predefined function. So, like, I don't think... I just don't want to watch... I don't want videos. I want an actual, like, written explanation. Function definition, data type definitions, and macros. I don't think... Yeah, you would do... Oh! So you would... Okay, so I was right, then. You can use functions to actually do... Or a header to do functions. I just always thought that was wrong, because I'm wrong about most things. But, yeah, in that sense of, like... how that works the same as basically creating a function underneath the main function. So another thing that I do is int product int num1 int num2. Now, one thing to be careful of when you create a function is these data types have to match. The compiler will get very angry. It will get angry at you and throw an error if the data types don't match. Return difference. Um, so like if you did an integer, which is a whole number, and a double in C sharp, which would be a floating point number, it would get angry because so if we had a function exactly like this where it was two ints and you did an int and double, it would say, "What are you doing?" It would get mad and be like, it doesn't match the definition of the function. This right here is a function definition. And I know you can do it return num1 minus num2. And then you would do, the product would be the same. And you can do it this way. I'll show you how the other way you can do it here. You can do return num1 times num2. So that would be the same as doing exactly as I did with less code. I've always done it, the create a variable to store the information in and then return that variable at the end of the function. That's not even a lie. I think let me look here on my drive here. Google Drive. When I was in college, I had no idea what the hell GitHub was. I suppose I never used it. Oh, it's not even here. Oh, it's in the other folder. I see the other folder. Oh yeah, because I had to... Oh my great googly moogly, what the heck is this? I'm looking at my old work from college. And I'm immediately like, nope, that was a mistake. The desktop application, I'm looking at the size of it. It was only a megabyte compressed, which is surprising. Game source code. Oh! I think I found... Let me see if I can find that old text adventure game I was working on. I don't think it's in here. I don't think it's... Good grief, so many untitled stuff. So much untitled. I think I am a little further ahead. Console application 1.zip. When was this? I need to look at this code. I need to look at this code really quick. Yeah, that was the one. So I technically do have the solution file for it. So, yeah, I actually had a functions.cpp and a function header file, and then the text adventure game was itself. Yeah, sorry, I just got distracted and wanted to see if I could find it, and yes, I could. So the reason I got distracted, I'm like, okay, I'm actually trying to look through some of my old work, and I don't have any other C++ work from when I was in college, but I'm not going to show it on stream. I'm just looking at it because I still keep the work around so I can peek at how far I've come or how far I've fallen, in terms of my technical know-how. But I usually try to keep my code, especially in something that we were, especially in something that I was going to show off, and we had to, make it look like we were going to maintain it. I wanted to make sure all the code was commented out, and I know you guys are like looking at this going, what the heck, you know. But yeah, no, let's go back to this. Int quo. I'm gonna keep it consistent. QUIO Q division num and num1. Computers are stupid, Jordan. Remember that. Okay. And then we return. So the order does matter. It depends on like for the addition and multiplication, I don't think it matters as much, but for the division and subtraction, it would. So let's save this. Actually, let me get my stuff. Oh no! I want my stuff tabbed over, but I didn't want the R tabbed over from the E, because that will cause an error. So we've already worked with 4. We've already worked with for loops, okay? But we haven't worked with while loops. So let's say, or do while. Do this. So we're going to prompt the user one time. So we're going to go, oh, I didn't have the namespace. That would have already caused an issue. But no, like, if you want to see, like, how far, like, how complex some of the code I had written for that text adventure game, I will be willing to open that up on stream. That I know I can show. But the stuff from college, I never show. I talk about it because it's something that like popped in my head. I'm like, oh, I do remember doing that, and I usually like from that experience, I learned a lot in college. I learned a lot. Yeah, I have a 2-year degree, and it's not as good as a 4-year degree, but it's still a degree. You can still make something. I've always said it doesn't matter the degree level, it just matters what you do with the knowledge, and if you want to pursue more, you can. You know? So right now, I'm literally trying to figure this out, and so you would want to do this. Okay, we're going to pull this up. We're going to go do. We're going to see out. Pick 2 numbers. Pick a number. And then, of course, we're going to int num1 cin num1. Actually, you could do this too. Make it a little easier. See out. Pick another number. I'm not doing like validation. I'm just doing how like these functions will work, or how this is going to work. I do actually recommend being specific. Like pick a number between 1 and 10, and then you say if number is great, if this is greater than 10. So I'll show you what that would look like here in my next example while just working with a while loop. Okay, pick another number. Then you would go like this. You would go cn, wrong way, cn num2. And then we would then go equals, would it be, what did I name that function? Add then you would do what did I name it? We'll do this. Actually, we should just call it subtract multiply and division. Subtract num1 comma num2. Int multiply equals our product equals multiply num1 num2. And you could say, for the while, you could put while I is less than 1. Or something. You could literally put while true, but that would leave it. So actually, we could say, we could create a Boolean here. In the main bool, and we'll say choice, or we'll do bool choice is equal to true, and then that would be a bunch of conditional statements. And then we would say int int equals division num1 comma num2. And then you would see out everything on a new line. And I'm not going to do anything like super spectacular. I'm actually going to do that probably when I feel like I'm very well antiquated with C++ again. I don't feel that very well versed in. I can't even speak, but I don't feel very well versed in C++. Unlike I used to. Like, I thought I was very comfortable in C++ to make something. So then, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say prompt user. These, the comments are not being read by the compiler. The comments are ignored. I'm also going to say this. If people are going to ask, what are variables? Variables are like boxes, but they're very, very specific in most languages. So if you say, for example, if you say num1 is an integer, you can only put whole numbers. You can't put strings in this type of variable. Even if you did, in this language, you would have to include the string library, much like in Java, where you'd have to import certain classes to do certain things. To output to the console, you would need to import the scanner class, which got to be a pain in the ass to remember when you haven't touched Java in a while either. But yeah, like, variables are very specific boxes if you're working in a language like C or C Sharp or Java or C++. But in Python and JavaScript, variables are a lot more they're a lot looser in their definition. Like, you could, I can say for a fact, I know JavaScript, you have let and var, and you do have like variable types, but it'll figure it out on its own. You can put a word in a variable and it'll figure out, oh, it's a string. You can put a number, it'll be like, okay, we can work with that. I might be misspeaking, but from what I remember from the various JavaScript things that I have done over my short career, Java interprets what the code is, and it goes, oh, we'll figure it out here. We'll figure it out along the way. And then I will go function calls. I know the comments are hard to read. Let me actually zoom in a little bit. The comments are hard to read because it's like a dark on dark. So the next thing you need to do is this. If you want to output it to the console, you need to do a cout sum and I know I'm gonna get filleted on this, but sum, then you do these sum actually you would want to do this. Oh my good grief, that was my fault, sorry. You would want to do this. You'd want to have a space between the word and the number, and then you want to go and do this. Don't hit 0. That somehow, that does a thing that I never like, where it does this, where if you highlight something and then it's weird. Alright, so then we were on to different. So we need to do difference. Okay, I think I did a tab and then a space, and then we did subtract or difference. Difference, yes, Jordan. Difference. And just because my screen, like my window for it's kind of small, I'm going to do this, and then we'll end that line right here. \n. So for people that are like, okay, I don't know if I've ever said this on stream, but I know I've said in the past C++ is my favorite language because I think the syntax is a lot more unique than, say, Python. Because Python's quirk, to me, is you don't need semicolons. All of your all of your code, like your lines, will end with indents, which makes Python really cool. Like, I don't know very many languages that actually do that. Python uses indentation to end your lines, whereas every other language that I've worked with, Java, C Sharp, C++, and Rust, all use semicolons to end your line of code. And, that's something that I'm... Okay, that did end that line. So then we will then go and tab again, cout, and I'm actually going to tab this over as well. Okay, I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it then at this moment. But yeah, no, now we're, just printing everything out to the screen. So then we need product. Oh god, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to hit this button. And then we do this button. Product. Oh, quotes, Jordan. \n. And then we need one more. Oh, good grief. I didn't mean to hit that button. I don't mean to be over exaggerative. Quotent. Quote. I don't think I spelled that right. But quotient. And then we do quotient. And then we finally do the new line. And just to make sure that the program stops executing, we then need to set this to choice. Or let me look. I have to look. Choice. I don't know why I call it choice. Choice equals false. Because that while, and then you go underneath this, just say while is equal to true. Let's see if I did it right. I feel like I did. I should know how to do whiles. Oh dear. I know I should know how to do whiles. So we're going to open up the terminal. We're going to then look at this name. We need to save it first before we actually compile it. And then we're going to go G++ while loop .cpp. Include functions.h, no such file or directory. What the heck? Functions.h should exist here. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Control C. We're going to close that. We're going to go into here. We're going to do Bing. And we're going to save. And it's still going to say functions.h, no such file or directory. But it is in the same directory. That's funny, because it should exist. Fatal error, functions.h. So it's saying because that doesn't exist. Let me try it again. I'm going to make sure I included it correctly. Header file C++. I could have sworn I've done it before. That's probably why. It does not like the angle brackets. The code I've done in the past, I always, when I do the functions, I always do the header files. Gosh, not going to do this again. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to include, okay, we've already got the include. We're going to do this instead. People say, well, it'll say there's no file or directory. Well, it's worth taking a shot at it. What's the error here? Okay, fatal. Okay, I gotta clear this again. Namespace, expected namespace, std. Didn't I include the... Oh, I didn't include the keyword using. Haha, silly me. Now let's try this again. Oh, wait a minute. That's what I did wrong. There's an unneeded semicolon here. That's why. Yeah, no. First it was me just being me, and there. That works. So then we'll go ./a.out. Pick a number. 12. Pick a number. 2. And that's how that works. And if you want to try that again, we'll pick 22, 32. It won't come up with a quotient because there's no modulus function. I haven't done a modulus function. Basically, a modulus is finding the remainder. It would be a decimal point. Yeah. So that is while loops, or do while loops. While loops work the same way, except they work the same as for loops, except you don't increment. And I'll show you a while loop. Why not? I'll show you a while loop. I don't want to construe everything. So before I do that, so it doesn't, overwrite my a dot out, we're gonna go while loop 1. And we'll create another folder inside saying actual, like, while loop. While loop example. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to create an empty, actually, forget that. Here's what we'll do. We'll delete this. We will go in here. We'll just create a new document in here. And we will Control S. We will find our loops folder, while loop example, and we will say while loop .c, like while loop ex.cpp. There we go. We open up to the blank page, and what's the first thing we do? I'm going over literally the basics because I'm trying to remember all this, and it's actually kind of fun to make simple applications that serve no purpose. So anyway, let's do this the way we do. Include IOStream using namespace standard int main. I am gonna probably show what that Text Adventures games code looked like. I'm so embarrassed to even think about it. Anything on the Twitch chat? Hello. Hello. So anyway. Yeah, no, I don't have chat open, so I don't see chat right away. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to say shoot, what could we have it do? We could just have it print a simple message. So we could go while. Oh, I gotta save it quick. Control S. While I is, I have to create int I is less than 5, because you can only have one argument in a while loop, as far as I know, without this or this. Those are your short circuit operators. The ampersand is and. So, like, if you were to compare two numbers and you're using an if or a while, the ampersand means both have to be true. The double pipe means only one has to be true. So, we're just going to say while, and I'll get into that probably a little later. Yeah, let's just do this. Let's have it print out. See out. And then I'm going to do I plus 1. That, since the computer starts at 0, it's going to start at 1 now. And then we're going to go return 0. As per normal, let's get to the correct folder. And then G++ while error. Wait a minute here. I wonder if you could do this. Int equals 0. So actually what I would do here, I would just say int count equals 5. Or equals 0. And we could try this. Count is less than 5. Okay, now you should be happy. I hope. Well, never mind. I could have sworn I've done it right, though. Like, it's the... Oh! Yeah, no, you don't need that semicolon, I guess. Save it. Okay. That was just me forgetting to rename the variable to count. Good grief. I need to get better at remembering how these things work. Oh, I thought I saved it. Come on. Okay. This one. Yay. And then we do ./a.out. Oh! It's not stopping. So we hit Control-C. Oh! That's because I forget to increment count. And you could... I am not good today. I forget with the while loops, you need to increment count. And I will be right back. I know this isn't helping my case as a programmer, but one thing you do need to watch out for when you do loops is the infinite loop, which is what we ran into where it was just printing one. In while loops, I completely forgot because I have a lot of those moments where I forget the very basic things, whether it's art or programming, that in a while loop, you have to increment. Even in a do while loop, if you have like where, let's say, count or whatever your variable name is less than a certain number, you have to increment that uh, variable so that your program actually has a stopping point. Because I noticed that it was constantly printing ones to the screen. So, yeah, I will actually make sure this time that it prints, and you guys can run the finished product here in, like, at the end of the day. So we're going to do that. We're going to do a.out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. So what we should do then to make this program a little nicer is the where is it? There it is. Of course, the new line character. Or the end line, whatever you want to do. And people will make fun of me because I'm forgetting the very basics of programming. And yeah, I will say I have kind of forgotten a few things. But that's something too that you need to remember, like when running an application like this. It's going to run forever if you don't increment this. Do not forget when you're working with a while loop or a for loop. The for loop actually has you incrementing the variable, initializing and instantiating the variable, and incrementing it all in the same line. A while loop can be a little more like you are doing a certain thing and then you then do that, and then let's compile this program, and I will, again, this is very basic stuff, but you're seeing that, yeah, there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all spaced out on new lines. And if you don't want that, you can always remove the new line character. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting right now? Let's see, we've done the while loops, the do while. We've went over kind of functions. And we've went over why, like actual while loops and why it's important to increment. One other thing that I will say, if you want to, if you're wondering like what am I using to program in C++, I'm using G++, the compiler, and I'm using some sort of, you can use any text editor you want as long as the file name is .cpp, and if you have headers that you want to include the headers just like we did here with the functions.h. It does not like the angle brackets. I learned that one today. Hell, why not? But I think that will be it for today for sure. So I will see you guys later. Bye-bye now.